Well, with me to talk about this extraordinary weather is climate scientist Dr. Michael Byrne of Imperial College London. Michael, what's your definition of a heat wave as opposed to, a few of us feeling a bit overly sweaty?
Well, unfortunately, there's not a universal definition of a heat wave. So the UK Met Office defines a heat wave as a prolonged period of higher than average temperatures, which may also be accompanied by high humidity. The World Meteorological Organization has a similar definition, but maybe a bit looser. They say that a heat wave is a time of 2 days or more with higher than average temperatures. So by those definitions, what we're experiencing around the Northern Hemisphere at the moment are certainly heat waves.
And what lies behind this? The fact that so many large swathes of the Northern Hemisphere are experiencing these conditions.
Right, so the Northern Hemisphere has had its second hottest June on record. So the fact that we're seeing heat waves all across the Northern Hemisphere, from Northern Europe to Japan to Africa to the Americas, points to the fact that we're now 1 degree warmer on average across the globe than we were in pre-industrial times. And this increase in average temperature makes the likelihood of these extreme heat wave events much more likely.
You're talking about it in terms of a trend, not a particularly hot summer.
Right. So what we're experiencing, for example, in Northern Europe is a period of intense high pressure which is lingering. So it's been lingering for almost 2 months. And that high pressure system is caused by the jet stream, which is a core of intense winds around 5 miles above the Earth's surface, being particularly far north this summer. Now that can happen, that we don't think that's as a result of climate change, but what climate change says is when these kind of unusual weather patterns happen, that you tend to get more extreme heat waves than you would have done otherwise.
So what are the lessons we or governments should be taking from the kind of weather patterns we're seeing now?
So as I said, the temperature has increased about 1 degree across the globe, and we think that by 2050 we might have another degree of warming. Now if that happens, the heat waves which we're currently experiencing will be something like 5 times as likely. And we know, so looking back at 2003 heat wave in Europe, for example, that contributed to tens of thousands of premature deaths. So these are really serious events, and governments need to start thinking seriously about ways in which the effects of these heat waves can be mitigated, because they're going to become a lot more common.
And I suppose we need to think about our lifestyles as well, because the pressure on resources gets ever bigger, doesn't it? Just think about how many of us could really do with air conditioning right now.
That's true. So we're causing the problem because we're emitting greenhouse gases which are warming the climate, but also mitigation steps take technology and money, and often those mitigation steps, like you mentioned, air conditioning, for example, in homes, that could make the problem worse by emitting more carbon dioxide. So we need to think carefully about...
Everybody needs to think they're part of the solution as well, rather than wait for answers from on high.
Exactly, and there are solutions that are less carbon intensive than others, so we have to kind of think creatively about how to deal with these issues.
Okay, I think we'll end on thinking creatively and hope that we do. Michael Byrne, thank you very much for coming in.